In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Progress in life, sir.
Bass drum in there, or what was that?
I am. Yeah. Oh, it's. You know what? Here, let me make up for it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And with that hot intro, welcome back to another pointless automotive podcast with Chadwick and Frank joining you on a wonderful evening. And guys, let's talk about something. Let's talk about an upcoming fun event,
baby. Oh,
and that we can. Yeah. I think we usually mention sex on most of these episodes, but let's talk about an upcoming event that we're both attending: the Sierra Rally.
Oh, not an eyes wide shut party.
Thrown by our friends at DWA. You might know them from Radwood or something similar to that. But we are going on a rally coming up here. It'll be the week after this airs. So this is pretty good. I'm calling this one our pregame show, if you will. So drink up. And dude, I just kind of want to get into like the cars we're taking, what we're doing to prepare for it. I know last year we did kind of a, or was it earlier? I can't remember. I have no goddamn concept of time, my friend. But just like what we're doing to get our cars ready to go on this rally and what we are actually bringing or hope to bring in my case.
Yes. What is the plan, man? No, and that's it. Like we combined, last year we combined let's just say last rally. For timeline to be damned. It was we combined forces. We took our collective Galant VR4. We
Eskimo Brothers
boys. That's right. Mistakes were made, but the car, generally speaking, performed nearly flawlessly.
Mechanically performed flawlessly. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the struts were worn out, but we knew that getting into it, and it did end up kind of spitting the bit a little bit on the exhaust manifold to turbo housing gasket. It wasn't really spit then, but it had started. But that was it. Like all things considered, it had like a dozen miles on it on a rebuilt turbo before the rally. We kind of broke some rules, and we should probably break less rules. Preparing for the rally this time around.
I'm actually going to break a lot more, but you're playing it more safe than me for sure.
Which means I'll have more problems. That's how this always works.
Do you mind detailing what sweet ride you plan to take the Sierra Rally on with, Frank? Why don't you detail?
I do mind,
your
but
chariot.
That's okay. Yes. So the whip, the sled, if you will, is and I know I've talked about it before, is going to be the S2000. My mom's S2000. Who has now made it my S2000, which I am simply shepherding it to be my son's S2000. It's the, the family. It's a family affair. And so we're going to take that. My mom is going to be my co-pilot, which will be fun. She is, she'll be, about a month, almost a month to the day shy of her 71st birthday when we go on the rally.
Oh, nice.
She's down to clown. She will imbibe with us in the parking lots afterwards. I anticipate like she's up with spirited driving, but probably not rally spirited driving. So I'll probably be hanging out in the slow pack. But I think it will be just a really cool and different way to do the rally. Maybe not by car, but by company, it will be different. So that is the plan. How about you? What tricks do you have up your sleeve? You doing the Trooper? Are you going completely bonkers, or what's going on?
The Trooper would be great for any off-road sections, and definitely good at slow stuff. But my plan is to bring back my '93 Nissan NX2000, which is
that one.
An interesting car. That blue one over my shoulder. If you are video component equipped at this time, you can see it. Fantastic car. A lot of people don't know about the NX2000s. They're not really spoken about a lot. But why am I choosing this car? Why not take like my Mini Cooper S that would slay ass on a rally, and it's kind of made perfectly to do that, and has AC and modern features. Slay ass. But why the NX? So it's a rare car, which you already know I like, you like. We like the weird guys, the outliers. It's a great handler from the factory. These things were fantastic out of the box. Limited slip diff from the factory, good brakes, four-wheel independent suspension. The list goes on and on, lightweight. Also, legendary engine, maybe? One of Nissan's possibly most legendary.
Love that motor.
Yeah, the SR20, guys, the DE variant. So the non turboed, but still super rev happy. Red lines at 7,700 RPM, giving your S2000 a little bit of a run for its revving money. But 140 horsepower, like 130 something pound-feet of torque. So good little motor for a lightweight car. T-top should be fun if the weather's nice, but that's why I'm going with that. But Frank, like honestly, the stupidity lies on the fact that I've had this car for 6 years almost.
Yep.
When I got the car, so first off, buy a car sight unseen. I always advise
Always
people
smart.
definitely do that.
Yep.
From Indiana, had it shipped over,
Oh.
drove it once around my block, and then it sat in my garage. When it came time when I purchased this property where I have the multiple garages and the ability to have more cars, I actually drove it the 30 miles to get out here. Super sketch. Hadn't even looked underneath the car yet.
Square shaped tires.
The motor, yeah, tires are shit.
Tags are current, I'm sure.
At least 20 years old on the tires. But engine pulled wonderfully, shifted fine, no issues with that. But the car wandered a lot, like was very loosey goosey in the suspension and steering components. So that's all getting redone. We'll talk about our plans later, but that's going to be the wild card, right? This car is sat for 4.5, 5 years, 6 years, whatever it is, and has not been driven. I haven't even changed the oil, Frank. It's had the same oil sitting in it. It's been on a battery tender.
That's fine.
It's
been on a tender the entire time.
No, it's got a newer battery that I bought in 2020. So it's got a 3-year-old battery.
It's halfway through its lifespan already. Yeah.
Dude.
Started the car one time.
So yeah, that's what I'm bringing. Why not? Why not go 1,000 miles on something that fucking hasn't been registered in the state of California ever?
And what's on the odometer?
183,000 miles.
Okay. That's not too brutal, actually.
Yeah, it's got character.
Question.
Sure.
Once you really have it going, on a scale of, let's just say, what % chance do you give it to passing California smog?
I don't know. I don't know how these SR20s are out of the box. I own a Sentra B13 SER, a 93 also, but back in the East Coast where there wasn't that much of a smog thing. So I don't know how the SR20s are with smog. I'm assuming since it's factory, it's fully stock. Once I get it out, put some mileage on it, tune it up, it should get through. It shouldn't give me too much of a problem. I don't know. Okay. We'll see. You never know, right? For a car that's never been registered here. So right.
And I wonder when they do it, if it gets, I mean, it's going to be test only facility, I'm sure, like star testing, whatever. But I'm curious if it's coming from out of state, if it gets like an extra like demerit where it's like they cinch up the numbers a little bit. You gotta roll a little bit cleaner than your typical NX.
It's definitely like the rolling road at 15 and 25, like all the old cars. So I'm hoping it's good because it's never been modified. So that's a huge plus for an SR20 car. So we'll see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, those are really cool. I too have owned a B13 SER, and I think the NX is incredibly good. I think that should be an excellent rally car because it'll be exciting. The inputs are good. The steering is good. The brakes should be decent. The
bigger brakes.
It's not a complete. Correct.
The factory,
I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like those cars are like slightly more substantial than the Sentra. As far as if you screw up and hit something, you won't instantly die, and your bones won't just be like ejected from the vehicle. Because the one thing with the B13, it felt very unsubstantial. Like if you were to get a little spite hot in a corner and understeer into a ditch, like they'd find your body maybe.
Oh, I thought they were better than like EG Civics and stuff. I thought it was.
I don't think so, man. I mean, here's the thing. Mine had 220-something thousand miles, and the headliner was missing, and like it really didn't give you a lot to really grab onto and think like, oh yeah, this thing is built well. Right. But the powertrain is brilliant. I love that motor.
Good motor.
It's not, the car isn't fast, but they're eager, and they feel like you can torture it thing for 20 hours straight, and it just won't care.
Timing chain engine, and these were pretty quick when they came out though. Like around a track, these things were the SR20 stout. 140 in the early 90s was good horsepower out of a
cooking.
Yeah.
And what's that car weigh? Like 2,300 pounds, maybe
24. So I have T-tops, which adds a lot of weight, raises the center of gravity, but for the fun factor, you got to have T-tops on a rally car, right? It's the same as taking off the top. So That'll be
top off.
That'll be fun. But yeah, they're pretty light, a little heavier. I think a little bit heavier than the SCR, but they made it up with bigger like rotors and pads, and every one of them had a limited slip, which is huge for front drive.
That's cool. Are you gonna? What's the male equivalent of a T-top? Is it just a tank top?
Yeah,
or female equivalent, I suppose. Yeah, you should wear tank tops the entire time with your T-tops.
Absolutely. Yeah, if the weather's good, those tops are going to be off the whole time. So
yeah, definitely. Top down, screaming out, money ain't a thing.
14-inch wheels, baby. So I got some good stuff to put on there. But I think like for these kind of rallies where we're not going all out and we're not setting lap records, I think it's the perfect car for that, because it really, all out power really doesn't matter that much on this. It's the ability to keep your speed and not wear through your consumables like brakes and tires, and lightweight cars are good for that. So I think these kind of cars are like, I think it's going to be that sweet spot, for a good rally car.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like our demeanor on these is where, I'll speak for me anyways. I feel like you feel the same way generally, but yes, the driving is a really fun component, and that's the straw that serves the drink. But I'm in them for the just chilling with people aspect of it just as much. Maybe 51-49 split, like just a tick more than even the driving stuff. Because I'm not in it to win a rally. I like I like the driving. I like the roads. I like the rhythm. I like keeping up or falling behind other cars and like-minded individuals, and seeing new stuff, because these are going to be roads I've never driven on. We're starting in Sonora, which is in like the Sierra foothills. Lord knows where we're going. I don't know. We won't know till we're there. And so that's all excellent stuff, but I'm not in it. The only way you win the rally is if you don't wreck your shit or wreck someone else's shit.
Right.
And so that's very much my mindset. So I love being in the slower pack. And I think like your car is perfect for that. The S2000 is a good, probably middle speed car on the roads we're going to drive. But it should be stone reliable. Your car should be, other than the age and sitting factor, assuming it doesn't mile one decide it wants to have no front or rear main seal anymore, like you probably are going to be okay.
Right.
What are your thoughts? What are you gonna do to prep? Like, what's your prep looking like?
So I'm like completely, overboard on everything, like I always am with these restorations. So I'm addressing all the mechanical stuff, like under the hood, like the wearables, valve cover gaskets, spark plugs, wires, all those things and vacuum hoses and coolant lines, the things that tend to haunt you when you're really pushing a car for the first time that's been sitting. So all that's being addressed. All the fluids will be obviously taken care of. But the big thing is I'm not doing a stock resto, which is what I always do, right? With these rarer cars. I'm actually putting a coilover kit on here.
Oh, eBay?
Yeah, it's no name, straight up $100. We'll see how she goes.
There you go. Awesome power.
A pretty good coilover kit. Not just that, but I'm doing I'm only doing the rear sway bar, because these are a little understeer tendency, like most front wheel drive cars at the time. So by beefing up the rear, I'll have a little more play in the rear of the car. It'll balance it out more neutral. As well as putting, obviously the front's getting new control arms, all the bushings are getting changed out, the ball joints, everything's going to be fresh, which is going to help, because I honestly think when you go for a handling thing or a track day, you get your suspension set up and your brakes set up and tires, you'll be faster than adding power. So I'm not adding any power in this equation. It's purely handling mods. So I can push harder and longer and not worry about the car braking, so. You're not
going to put like a huge, like 85 millimeter turbo on this thing.
Probably. I might just do like a 200 shot of NOS and just
hit the NOS. Yeah, definitely.
Send it, baby. But yeah, it's going to have some good handling stuff in it. And these already handle great. So if I can make this thing handle well, I'll be able to hang with much higher horsepower cars, because I've got a little bit of a driver mod. I'm pretty comfortable driving like these underpowered cars, like Miatas, things like that. So it'll be pretty quick.
You're going to do stock wheels?
Yeah, stock 14s, baby. I'm putting some 200 treadwear Falcons on there, and I'm going to keep it pretty much stock appearance. It's going to be a little lower, obviously, but the suspension is going to be dialed in, hopefully. So don't have a lot of time to do that, but we're going to try.
You and your Falcons, man. We gotta We got either Falcon or Nexon. We still got to hit them up for sponsorship goodies. Or I don't know. I'm turning into a Vredestein guy because I put Vredesteins on the 924. Lovely tires, and that's what was on the Galant.
The sweet thing is I bought these Falcus NE 615s, I think they are, and they're like one of my favorite 200 treadwear tires. So good. It doesn't give up, especially on lightweight cars, doesn't wear out. But man, I bought these when I got the entire set. There was like a rebate because they're 14, so they're cheap. I got it for $325 for all 4 tires. So you can't do that anymore. I purchased them like 3 years ago. So it's going to be grippy, all new brakes, fluids, pads. I put like really good RL 600 redline brake fluid in all my fluids.
RL Steins?
RL Stein. Yeah. We'll do that. We'll do some Shell Silverstein brake pads and
yes, some I don't know. I'm trying to think of some like unhinged modern
Coldicott winning tire setup. I don't know anymore.
Yes, exactly. Whatever, Monster Blood. I don't know. Goosebumps are going off.
Oh, Goosebumps. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But no, it's gonna be pretty fun to try to beat that deadline. I have like a week and a half because I'm gonna be in Hawaii for an entire week next week. So this is gonna be a very tough thing to hit this deadline.
Are all the suspension bits on that? Is that basically all just B13 stuff?
Exactly. Yeah, it's all the same. All swaps over. So that's nice because these are so damn rare. They don't make anything specifically for them. So,
like, what's the production number on those? Like, what? Like a few thousand a year? Like
someone
North
said
America?
The final year they're only a few hundred. So this might be an extra. In this color, electric blue is like the rarest color. So I think this is a very rare. I don't want to be like Corvette guy, like electric blue 93 with
wood of 6. Yeah, with the polished wheels instead of the argent.
Exceptionally rare though. Very low production numbers the final year. So
very cool. Are you team it's so ugly it's pretty, or it's actually pretty? Like where do you stand on the spectrum?
I don't think it's a pretty car. I think the rear end has a lot of 300ZX, Z32 styling cues with the way the integrated spoiler is, the kind of hatch design. If you look at just that rear like 3/4, it looks almost like a 300ZX.
I'm not worried about the rear, my friend.
You're talking about the front end with those weird headlights. Yeah, it's interesting. I do love how interesting it is. The right angles, it does look super cool. I mean, it's a cool looking car. It's very interesting. I just need to make it look better because the paint's a little rough and it needs some help there. But if I can get her shined up pretty good, it's an interesting looking car. I think they look super cool. It's like very, very rounded for early 90s. Especially considering its predecessor, the Pulsar, was completely a wedge. Right.
Yeah. I've
chiseled wedge.
I vividly remember this would have had to have been before 1989. So I was no more than like 5 years old. And where I lived at the time, it was in a townhouse in New Jersey, in Morristown? Gillette, New Jersey, a little hamlet in the middle of nowhere. Lived there for up until I was like 5-ish, and then been in the Bay ever since. And in that complex, there was a red Pulsar NX, and just the taillight treatment on that with like the diagonal lines, I thought was genuinely. I thought that was the fastest car in the world. I thought it was like a rocket ship. Like I just didn't know anything about it. In my mind, it was like this the coolest thing ever. It was red with the taillight treatment, and so. I think there's an argument for that car to be like pretty-ish. I don't think anyone would consider your NX to be pretty. That said, I love that it exists, and I love that it's bizarro looking, and I'm team it's so ugly it's pretty. And I think I'm going to be driving the opposite side of that spectrum, where the S2000 is like a traditionally pretty car.
It is, yeah.
Like the way it's styled, it's like, okay, like that could be a car that was like 140 horsepower and like not performance oriented, and it would still be like sought after, maybe certainly not to the extent, but just it looks so damn good. And so, I mean, what I'm doing prep is not a lot because I just within the last 1,500 miles, I've done tires. I put the PS4S's on it. I did the water pump. I did a battery. I did some hoses and and coolant, obviously with the water pump, and some other stuff and fluids. I did tranny. I did diff. I did oil. It's probably It's been 1,500 miles, but it's been probably close to a calendar year. So I'm going to do the oil again. Um, because it's not like I've been driving it frequently, but like not very far, which is harder on oil. I've been
Yep.
driving it infrequently, long distances generally, like a couple hundred miles at a clip.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm overdue for the oil, but I should do it. So I'll do that, and then the timing chain tensioner, which I have the replacement, the upgraded one, which isn't too bad to do. Just pull the air box, and then it's easy to do physically. It's harder to do mentally because anything is like, oh, a timing chain tensioner on this car's original motor. Like it always, like I don't know. I have like a pseudo unnatural fear of touching it, even though it's got to get done, and it's like 2 bolts and it's got a little feeler gauge, so you can tell when it's engaged because it's got like a grenade pin type deal. It should be pretty easy to do. I just need to get off my ass and do it.
Totally worth it for that peace of mind, though. That would if that just, especially because it's fairly low mileage, but again, time
70,
time can kill those components, so you don't want to risk it, especially if you're going to
in this car it makes noise. Like once it's warm, you drive around and it's warm and you shut it down and start it 5 minutes later,
because you're going to be driving it hard too, and you probably don't drive it that hard for extended periods now. No. So it's like one of those things, like, man, you're going to find out when you start getting on it. Peace of mind is very valuable when you're driving like this.
Absolutely. I don't want to pull an Aaron Rodgers and be sitting around for a whole summer doing ayahuasca in my cave, and then come on out and immediately blow my Achilles, which is, I think, for a professional athlete, the same as losing a timing belt or perhaps a timing chain.
Right up there. Yeah. This is a timing chain car as well. And they had no issues. There were no issues with the guides. They'll go forever. Early tech, sometimes is the best. But the water pump, I don't know when that was done. It doesn't look too old in there. So, some of these things I'm going to leave up to chance, because that's the excitement factor.
You're going to bring a water pump and a couple of like 10s, 12s, and 14s with you, and just bring it on the road, some RTV, and just let's go.
I think she'll be good. These things they're pretty stout, and like Nissan in the early 90s couldn't do any wrong. They just over-engineered everything. Everything was very stout. Like the engine itself these are such well-built engines. So, you're talking about a 2-liter high revving timing chain engine from the early 90s, who else is bringing that to the table?
Pretty straightforward. Yeah. You don't have, I don't know, that compared to like if I brought like the 924, the non-turbo car, because that one actually has some remote hope of holding up.
Yeah.
Like that car, which is simpler in a lot of ways, but far more complex and fragile, versus that car. It's like, you can just beat the brakes off it for 3 consecutive days. I think what would have been second place if you weren't going to bring that car? Would it be the Mini? Would it be something else?
Yeah. So I'm still up against a really tough, like this car needs to be registered. It needs to do all that stuff. It's a little risky to go on the rally without plates, but if I can't get the car ready, I do have the Cooper S 2005, 86,000 miles. Everything's done on it. Good tires, suspension's great. All the maintenance is taken care of on that one. New transmission, new clutch, new flywheel. Everything associated except for the transmission is new. So, master slave cylinder. Yeah, for the clutch.
No ACR.
No, because that needs just as much work to get going as the NX. The Mini would be, I feel like it would be cheating, because it is, dude, I did the review of that car up in the canyons. There's not much, like, I know the horsepower sounds like laughable, 168, but it's even acceleration cars times, which they're not known for, was with some pretty fast cars. And in the canyons, unbelievably quick.
Into the 05?
05, yeah. Yeah. So it's unbelievably well balanced. And that thing just rips. It really rips.
Was it 07? What was the last year of the supercharged cars?
07 was the first year of the turbocharged R56. Okay. So R53 ran all the way to 06. So this is kind of late. You want. Yeah. And it's low mileage and just it's wonderful, dude. It's so that supercharger noise. It kind of is the perfect quintessential rally car, because that's what they're kind of made to do. It loves like tight technical roads, and it flies. It just flies.
Yeah. Those are good. They make good noises. They're comfortable, but it's too easy, man. Like that's the thing. Like in a lot of ways,
Mr.
If it wasn't for,
S2000 over there.
that's what I'm saying. If it wasn't for like the quote unquote personal provenance or whatever cheesy saying we want to say with it being my mom's car and her coming with me and just making stories in the car. I don't know. I'd maybe do 920 NA 924 and just roll the dice. I don't know. Maybe Supra. Maybe I would have been hustling harder to get the Barracuda done.
Oh,
because
that'd be fun.
that would be just so different. And I'm a fan of different. The Galant was different in a conventional way. The Barracuda would be different in a conventional way, or non-conventional way. I don't know. It's just a car that doesn't do these type of things, and the likelihood of it breaking would be extremely high.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, like between the NX and the ACR, I think flip a coin between which one is the better choice to fix up and bring. The smarter one's probably the NX. Does it have AC or no?
So I don't know. It looks like the compressor was done a few years back. Like I said, I looked under this car for the first time a week ago. So, I mean, let's be honest. This is way last minute stuff.
Is that R134? It's like on the bubble. Is it R134?
It probably was it was probably the old refrigerant. If they did do a new compressor, they probably converted it. I got to look into I did get a thick folder of receipts to go over. So I got to really dig in and actually do that. But I'm just like rushing right now. It's like the last minute, to get everything kind of together. Not to mention building an entire aftermarket suspension that's going to work together, and actually be flawless. Field test it. Right. But, I hope I don't have to bring the Mini, but if I do, it's a damn good backup for a rally car. 100%.
I would say if you want to spice of life it, you could borrow the 924 if this thing doesn't come.
I'll take the Mini. I'll take the Mini because it's got AC. It's modern. It's
the 924 is AC.
I know.
And new tires.
The Mini is like a different league of handling prowess and
completely. It's just cheater mode. What says the guy bringing the S2000?
Right. I'd be curious to see if you could shake me with that S2000 if I had the Mini. That'd be kind of fun. Probably not. It's that good.
I'm probably not because I think I'm too.
All things equal.
I think I'm too risk averse in that car. Frankly.
That's fair.
So I just and so it's fast. I've driven it faster than I should have before, and like. On a rally I did many years ago. This was probably 10 plus years ago in that car.
Mm-hmm.
Like a navigational road rally thing. And like it was funny because I chased down and had to have a guy pull over to let me pass in the car, and he was driving a 997 Carrera 6-speed Carrera S. And I felt really good about that. I was like, like I conquered it. And then there was I had to do the same thing where a guy ran me down in a Mazda Protege 5. The guy had all Mazda speed Protege suspension in it.
That's cool.
And he had like 100 and something track day hours in his car.
That's the biggest difference when it comes
to sticky tires. It was like it was 135 horsepower or whatever. It just that 2-liter. But the guy just absolutely knew how to, and I couldn't shake him. And I just, and I don't even know what tires were on the S2000 and some random all seasons. And it was just like game, set, match. So, there's always a bigger fish. And I do not fancy myself a particularly good driver. I do it. I just go. And I'm too risk averse in that car. I have no doubt that you'd kick me square in the Balkans.
It's just funny the way those two cars make their numbers completely different, but it's like, it's hilarious how it all boils down. But it's not a bad fallback plan. But I really want to bring the NX because I think for a lot of people, it's going to be the first time they see the NX. I'm going to get a lot of did we get those here? What the hell is this?
That's what the Galant was. People were like, oh wait, I heard about this. Wait, why does it say 4-wheel steering on the back? Wait, right. Hold on. It's got a 4G63. Like people just unknown. It's just like there's like this weird legend, and that thing is even weirder. Like there's no legend about it. It's just like, hey, I think I remember those weird egg cars. Wait, what? It's got an LSD and a 5-speed.
SR20 engine? What the hell? It's more, I think it's slightly more like automotive obscure than the Galant, but it's like definitely, I don't know. I wonder how it's going to be performance wise. Probably if I get the suspension sorted, it's going to be a lot quicker in the corners. even though it has
Yeah.
a distinct horsepower advantage or disadvantage.
It's just a lot lighter too.
A lot
It's a
lighter,
lot lighter.
yeah. Nimble little car. So
Yeah. It's funny, like the Galant is very like, if you know, you know. That car
yes.
is like, if you know, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What is
like
wrong with you, man?
who
How do you
are
know
you?
that?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm excited for it. Any any I'm just trying to think if there's any like last minute like tips or tricks. I guess the only thing that's left to be decided is I've thought about this. I don't know if I've told you. I've thought about that we should do this, and we probably should, but very much shouldn't do this. Should we like bust out a card table or something? Should we record a pod in the parking lot one of these nights at the hotel, and just like have random people stop by? Like my mom will be a guest, and your fiance will be a guest, and like random like oh yeah dude, like random fans and DWA contestants, not the right word, but just participants can come by and be sloppy and just say stuff into the mic, and the editing will be heavy, but like it could be really fun.
That's a good idea. Or we could like free float and go to people's cars and different circles of people and talk to them there and have them walk us through their car and what they think of the rally, how's their car doing. Because that's kind of cool. That would be a good visual component too if we bring a camera into the equation.
Yeah, just like vlog it. We could do that. Yeah. That would be fun.
That'd be kind of cool, right? Just get some of the spicy cars that are on the rally.
Yeah, we can do both. I always thought like we can't really do it this year because you're taking a car and I'm taking a car and we've each got our own co-pilots. But how fun, like, because we did the last time we did kind of like a recap on the mellow drive back.
Yeah, the post-mortem. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. How fun would it be to just like, when we're on it, like in the rally, not going 10 tenths, but maybe going 7 tenths, right? If we're going to do this, the medium car slow thing. Like maybe not this time, but maybe next time. That'd be fun to just like GoPro back at us and just record and in the corners and see other cars behind us, like looking back. Like, I don't know. We could be onto something, or it could be a massive liability and a terrible idea.
Yay!
Yay! Caution, meet wind. But I'm excited for it. Whatever we choose to do, podcast related or otherwise, it's going to be a good time. I always have a good time at these things. I want to do more beyond the world of driving while awesome, as much as I really enjoy those guys and the company they keep. I feel like, I mean, we've done one of these and I like, we go to places and see some of these same people and it's like my people, like it's really interesting.
Right. Yeah.
So this will be fun. I'm genuinely excited for it. And I just like, you got more work to do than I do, my friend.
Maybe too much, but we'll see.
A touch too much.
More than a touch. It's a fist too much.
Oh boy. You have a Fiesta ST, sir?
Well, that would be fantastic for one of these. I think that would be another car that would fit right in. I'm sorry, what was
still two cheater mode.
I felt a segue coming to surface back then. What did you have?
See, that's the power move. You do the whole thing on a friggin' Segway. Like power, like heavily modded Segway.
Oh god,
Tesla motor. Somebody somewhere has had to have dynoed a Segway, right?
I don't know. It's either that, take that, or a one wheel. I don't know which one would be more fun.
I don't know. Either one is just like straight up fatality.
I think we're gonna have more elevation changes on this particular route than we did with the last one. So I think I'm kind of worried, like naturally aspirated. You and I both are going to be losing some horsepower if we do go up in the altitudes, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's better than carbureted though. At least we're not digging with carbs and having.
Rather have a turbo, like, or if I take
we're at 6,000 feet, like try to like rejet stuff, like just.
Oh god, that was the good old days.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm excited though, man. I think it is going to be super fun. I hope we see a lot of cool cars out there too. I mean, I
want to see different stuff.
I love seeing Porsche 911s, but hopefully it's not like 50% of the population. I hope we see a lot of people bringing out some unique stuff. And again, I'll be running in the slow group too, so that's where it's at for me.
It's okay, like, man. Okay. We've got some good friends in the slow group.
Yeah.
There's like Jay and Amelia in the 510 and. Everyone's friend, Mr. Baddest of Rabbits of Habits. Although that car boogies.
Dude, the Datsun boogies, even the people that
Yeah.
run in the slow group,
Just dude,
everybody's
they know
like,
they have
everybody's
so many
cars are
miles
so
in those
fast.
cars. They have so
Yeah.
many miles in those cars, and they just know how to get after it.
Kill it.
And for them, they're driving 810s, but I'll be white knuckling it in the S2000 with my mom puking out the side.
Yeah.
It'll be, I don't know, it'll be exciting. It'll be fun. I can't wait for the people and the faces and the roads and the good times. And yeah, we got to do more of them outside of DWA. Maybe I think we've mentioned this before. Maybe one day, probably not for our 100th episode, but one day maybe we can do our own friends of the pod driving rally. Here in NorCal. I don't know. I don't want to step on the DWA's toes. Not that we could. We're incapable of stepping on their toes.
Never. No, we grovel. We grovel nicely. But
exactly.
I hope, for me personally,
shoulders of giants, right?
Yeah, I hope the weather's going to be nice, man, because I don't want to have any like temp issues or anything. Yeah,
just pure smoke fire.
God,
yeah,
that'd be horrible, dude. I just hope it's like, I hope it's like in the 60s and 70s, and it's like good air for the cars to be hustled and not overheating, because a lot of people bring cooler cars, and like if the weather's nicer, they can push those cars a lot harder. So I'm just, especially with the elevation being tossed in there, it's going to be working these cars hard. So I hope we get good temps, and I want to have the T-tops off. I don't want to be barbecuing, and I know you want to go topless in the S2000. So
I do. Yeah, I want to just completely. I mean, I've got the farmer sand thing going pretty. Oh, like look at the shine of the whiteness here.
But dude, like 8 hours exposed, like if it's really hot, you're going to be miserable.
Oh no, I was just going to bring, I can't figure out if we can bring butter, or I can't believe it's not butter, but just butter myself. Maybe Pam, spray, like people apply the sunscreen spray. It's very similar, but with like some kind of anti-stick coating. Yeah, it'll be good. My mom is just like weeping next to me, just beyond embarrassed. Strangely enough,
interesting,
that works as a segue, because I have a very interesting ad to quiz upon you this week, my friend.
Let's do it.
All over your neck. I'm going to cue it up. Would you tell the good people who are definitely playing along at home what the heck we're doing?
Yes, for our listeners, this is our Automotive print ad quiz game show. It's a weekly occurrence here on the pod. What we do is we dredge up a periodical, magazine, whatever, written publication ad about a vehicle. In this case, Frank is going to read the ad, omitting anything that gives the vehicle away. My job is to guess what the hell he's blabbering on about. So I have 3 guesses to get to that vehicle. We try to get make, model, any kind of special stuff as bonus, obviously, from that point on. But every time I miss, I get a chance to ask for help, or he can offer up a hint. And eventually the goal is to try to get there or get ballpark. It can be a lot of fun because these ads tend not to be accurate, and it's a good time for all. 80s, 90s, early 2000s are eligible for this, and I'll have 10 minutes once Frank finishes his ad. And Frank, I'm ready. Lay that obscure bullshit on me right now. Let's do it.
All righty. I really enjoy this ad. It's a one-pager. We have a little saying at the top, and then a large photo, and then about the bottom third of the ad is text. At the top, it says, "New blank, a fast course in street smarts." Then it has the image where we have the vehicle clad in red. Our front quarter image. It's surrounded by, I'm going to say, roughly 20 individuals. It clearly is hot because a lot of these people are not wearing a lot of clothing. There's
fast
one guy
in what? Street smarts?
And there's fast course people? In street smart. They're not naked. They're naked adjacent. It looks like they're maybe at like a almost like a boardwalk type scenario. There's a dude just like randomly like wearing a tank top and just like randomly like lifting a weight. There's a random gentleman holding a basketball, and the kicker is, so there's a guy underneath it, like slid under it, like looking up under, like at the bottom of the transaxle. The hatch is open. It is a hatch, and there's people peering in the back. And then there's a seemingly young lady. I can't see her face, but I can see her lower extremities. She's in a bikini, wearing roller skates, completely in the car, like through the driver's window.
Description I've ever heard for a car ad.
And there's approximately 6 people staring directly into her cornhole, like right at her poop chute. And that's it. Like that's the image. Okay. Let me get to the text here for you. With its overhead cam, aluminum engine, and close ratio 5-speed transmission, the regular blank is already a secret weapon in the car wars. So imagine what happens when its little street hustler gets fortified with a mega dose of vitamin T turbocharger. There's a piranha loose in the goldfish. That's what. And that's just one of the qualifications that puts blank in the on-deck circle of winning performers. Built by blank, it comes saturated with hard-charging technological largesse. McPherson strut front suspension, front-wheel drive, 410 axle, disc front brakes, ample 4-passenger room, cargo space for 15 bags of groceries, and the savings to afford them. On-board performance computer, rack and pinion steering, EPA estimated 37 city, 43 highway MPG, 0 to 60 in 9.4 seconds, and a multitude of additional engineering advances. So go to your blank dealer and tell him that you're a brilliantly perceptive car buyer, and a modest one at that. And you're ready to shine in the hot lights of the city streets. That's what you got, my friend.
10 minutes. You got the timer going.
I got you. Yep.
So no horsepower number. Just it has a turbo.
Nope. Has a turbo.
No drivetrain details except for it. Did it say it had a manual?
It said with its overhead cam, aluminum engine, and close ratio 5-speed transmission. The regular blank is already a secret weapon.
So 5-speed manual. It
does say front wheel drive, McPherson front struts, disc brakes up front,
drums in the rear,
ample 4-passenger room.
0 to 60 in the 9s. So we're not talking about anything. This thing reads like a first off time period. This has got to be like mid 80s, early 80s, based on how the ad is written. That number is kind of abysmal for a turbo car. And it showed everybody staring into a woman's butthole, which was really celebrated.
One guy's actually got a little bit of a lower angle, like he's on his knees, effectively, kind of getting an upshot. Like he's trying to
taint. He's getting the taint.
He's going full
Gucci gooch,
full clam jam.
So this has got to be early 80s because that was a pastime. I remember fondly as a child staring into assholes. Never outgrew it. Never outgrew it, Frank.
Who does?
Okay, there's not a lot of details to work with. So we're dealing with something turboed, 80s, front wheel drive, not so good performance, cheap. This is tough. There's not a lot of identifying stuff here, but
0 to 60.
Yeah,
9.4 seconds. There is an asterisk. The asterisk says performance figures completed by a professional driver on a blank test track.
Oh, yeah. So in real life, it's like an 11-second 0 to 60. I don't know if I can get it off of this, man. This is tough. Front wheel drive turbo.
Hell of an ad, though. For the ad, I had to read.
I mean, I can't wait to see this. I want to see people gazing longingly into a butthole. No door count. Did it say coupe?
It did not. It did not list a door count. However, I did tell you that they were looking in a hatch. Okay. Both her hatch and the vehicle's hatch.
Probably a 2-door, but you never know. Dude, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Turbocharged. It's got that vitamin T.
Vitamin T. No low T, clearly.
No. It's got that testofen.
Her butthole didn't have low T after that photo shoot.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I can only see so much of her. I haven't.
Oh, fair enough.
I haven't checked her dipstick.
This is not a lot to go on, man. Wow. Front wheel drive turbos from the 80s. What are we dealing with?
There's a piranha loose in the goldfish.
Well, there's Saabs, but they were a little quicker than that. I don't think they were in the 9s. Any turbo Saabs. What would that have been? The 9000 turbo?
Could be. Technically, that is a hatch.
Right? Hatch.
Yep.
Didn't read like a Saab ad at all. And I don't think Saabs came with drum brakes in the rear. So I'm thinking, God, dude, the Japanese cars at the time, what was front wheel drive and turbo? We didn't get a lot. Is it domestic? Well, was the Probe Turbo out at that time? That's kind of I think that's a disc drum kind of car. And I guess that's kind of a hatchy design. Let's go for that. Let's go with the Ford Probe GT, the turbo.
Okay. So that would have been like late 88-ish.
Yeah, 87, 88. Because that's front wheel drive turbo hatch. Yeah. Final answer for my first guess. Ford Probe GT turbo.
An excellent guess, but that is incorrect. It is not the Ford Probe GT hatch. How would you like some guidance here? Or should I just offer something up?
Am I in the right country of origin?
You're actually very in the right country of origin, no matter how you slice that.
Okay. Interesting. Was there something in there about being built by someone else? Did I pick up on that in the ad?
Built by blank. It comes saturated with hard charging technological largesse.
So we're talking, so it's a domestic front wheel drive turbo with drum brakes, cheap. Boy, there were not many. I was thinking it was a Ford GT Probe. What else do we have? Well, there was like the Grand Prix Turbo. That would be a front wheel drive, but I think those had disc brakes, I think, and they were all automatic. So I don't think that's the case. That's a pretty rare car.
Yeah. And not a hatch.
Not a hatch, correct. Dude, I was like, Chevy had. They made some cars that were turboed. I think they made a Beretta turbo at one point, but I don't think that's it. That's not a full hatch either.
Did they make a Beretta turbo?
Did they?
Or a hatch? I think those were all.
They were all notchbacks.
Like trunked, yeah.
Yeah. Is this a little smaller Chevy with a turbo? Is this? I think I got it. I think I figured out. It's like the analog. Well, it came a little before the Probe though. Is this the? I think I got it. It's the Chevy Sprint Turbo. Final answer. We're talking like early 80s, aren't we on this one? Like early to mid 80s for bonus.
Built by Suzuki in Japan. It comes saturated with hard charging technological largesse. This is the 1988.
Oh, so it is a little later.
Chevrolet Sprint Turbo.
Yes.
You've got it, my friend. That's the, I think it was maybe still called the Cultus. Maybe it was the Suzuki Sprint. I don't remember which. I know the generation after, which became the Suzuki Sprint and the GTS, or I'm sorry, the Sprint GTS or the Metro.
Sprint GTI.
GTI, sorry. Yeah,
and then
GTI.
they dropped it because Volkswagen threatened to sue them.
Yes. But yeah, the generation before that.
I thought I had it Ford Probe. I thought I just took that shot in the dark and got it.
I mean,
what else? Like, here's the thing. I was thinking like those other.
I was thinking maybe you'd go like Plymouth Colt Turbo.
Right. Yeah, there was all
like
that,
which is that similar like captive import turbocharged.
Because here's the thing, like it couldn't be Saab. Saab didn't have drum brakes at that time. They were all running 4-wheel disc. I don't think you could even get a Saab.
Maybe an early 900 turbo. Maybe could have, but I don't know.
Not in the mid late 80s for sure.
The NA cars, I think you could, the earlier ones, but I don't think the turbocharged ones were probably always discs.
And that power was way down. like a 9 something 0 to 60 time. I think the Saabs were ahead of that. So
Yeah, maybe not a 900 because those were heavy, and that was like you were guessing around that same 2, like which was probably about the same 0 to 60. But yeah, I mean you slussed it out. That probe turbo was a very good first guess.
yes,
I thought I had it. Let me real time send you.
Yeah, let me see this action. I thought I had it with the probe because there's not too many cars that fit that description. I'm pretty sure the early probes didn't have disc brakes. They might. No, I don't think they did. Okay,
yeah, maybe the turbo ones. Maybe the turbo ones did. I'm not sure. Is that working for you?
That is just a picture of a butthole. Let me. Oh my god! You weren't joking, dude.
Told you. What an ad!
Just a picture without the words. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, it's like a woman fully bent, like in the window with just her butt sticking out.
And the guy in the plaid beret, just like going straight for the clam jam.
He's straight cave diving. Yeah, there's one guy with his freaking neck with the splitter of the front of the car on his neck.
Yeah, you see the guy in the white tank top in the upper left with just like the random 10. He's just flexing like lifting weights.
I gotta zoom in. These are the ones that said intercooler.
The little intercooler with the little detail. Arrow.
Yes.
What a cool car, right?
What a cool car. But yeah, it had to be a domestic shitbox, even though they're technically built by Suzuki. But those numbers and that brake setup, man, there's something that drum brakes really triggers within me, man.
Do you have anything? Do you have anything not truck based that has drums right now?
Right now,
do you have any cars with drums?
Everything's 4-wheel disc. The Neon ACR for sure. The NX, the Mini Cooper. What else do I have? I don't know. Oh no, the Summit is very car-like.
I guess that's car adjacent. Yeah. I keep forgetting that car exists. The price was right.
Even the Trooper from '88 has 4-wheel discs. So.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, man. It's drums, dude. Like, so I did the review on the Mini Cooper and someone commented, they're like, these Mini Coopers are just not reliable. You should get something like a Honda Fit. And I'm like, a second here. Like the difference between a supercharged Mini versus a Honda Fit performance. Like a Honda Fit's not a hot hatch out of the box. They're great cars, but they still come with drums. Like even oof.
But what has a spec racing series?
It does. Fit. Do they convert them all to disc?
I doubt it. I don't know. I don't know.
I just can't. There's something in my head about a car with drum brakes still, right? It's like the old Versas when you could get them with drum brakes. It's like, I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Trucks, I'm okay with drums. Keep the dirt out,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
You get the rocks on the backing, the dust shield.
Performance and maintenance, ease of maintenance, disc all the way, dude. I hate drum brakes. And
there's a reason why nothing modern uses drums. Well, almost nothing
Honda
modern.
Fits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one,
job.
Dude. Great car.
Well played. Great car. There's a guy that has one locally. He was at. I saw him down in Monterey Car Week. We crossed paths, and I think it's like mildly modified. It's got that great 3-cylinder kind of rumble to it. I don't know. It's a car that like nobody wants, but I want one.
Question here though. So GM shipbox performance variants made by another company. Do you go with this car or would you go with a Nova twin cam?
Ooh, I mean the Nova twin cam is inarguably the better car. Or what about Storm GSI?
That's cool too. Little later down the lineage line. But out of those first two, those two Chevys, which one would you take home if you had the choice? Both can be equal quality.
Man, probably the twin cam. I love the little Sprint turbo because it's so silly, but it's not nearly as good of a car or complete.
Yeah, that 4AGE twin cam is just that's the one I go for.
Yep, completely.
Both are cool. Storm GSI, absolutely though.
Like, what do you want? Do you want like a really nice performance Corolla, or do you want a Suzuki Cultus with a bow tie on the front? Like,
right.
I don't know. Like I would want either, but yeah, I think you got to go. I don't know. The Toyota in my soul.
Yeah, both are super cool cars.
The Prism. Speaking of how am I going to do? Speaking of prisms and looking through the fraction. I don't know. It's confusing.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Have you been doing actual PCP?
You know what? I should be. You know what? I've earned it. You've earned it. We've earned it.
Nice.
Yeah. What have you? I've not had like since last week, quote unquote. I have not made a whole lot of significant progress, outside of mentally debating further what car I'm going to get rid of next. I think it's got to be the truck. I have the images done. There's a couple of small things I want to tie up, to get ready for an auction, hopefully soon. I don't know.
What's going to be your tow rig, my friend?
No, not that truck. I'm talking the 41, the old Chevy.
Gotcha.
Although I could do. I got to do. Man, okay. On the Suburban, what I got to do to make it actually sellable.
Is this future? Are we talking about future PCP? Is that what we're doing right now?
I've mentally done the progress, and I just need to physically make it emote the progress into actual physical progress. So while I was poking around Pick and Pull for the parts I needed for the last week aforementioned charcoal canister on the Civic that I sold and warranty repaired, because I'm just that nice of a guy.
Gentlemen.
I stuck my head under another Suburban because that is apparently where the controller, the ABS control brain box, for lack of a better way to put it, lives. It's like up on the frame rail, and of course the fuel lines go right under it, and it's on top of like a junction, like a brake junction block.
Perfect.
And so you have to, apparently there's a way you can do it without actually getting a line wrench on there and breaking the line to the junction box, but it's kind of involved. And I'd rather not break the line to the junction box, but there's a way that you can do it to pop the brain box off the top of the junction box and then refloat the solders. Because that's the fix. You refloat the solders inside the brain box, put it all back together. And like, I can spend like $300 and get a pre-rebuilt one. But if I'm going to do that, like, I might as well fuck up this core and like try and refloat the solders and see if it works, right?
No harm, no foul, yeah.
Except for my time to like try and like get just the right angle to wiggle it out, to get like a stubby up above it, like next to the frame rail around fuel lines, to try and like undo these 4 probably locked up Phillips heads.
Does not sound fun, my friend.
And so I almost was like, you know what? I'm just going to dry run this thing in this Pick and Pull. Like, I'm just going to like see if I can do it. And like, if I like just like rip on things and like break stuff. I hate to be the guy that breaks stuff at Pick and Pull.
Yeah.
But like, if I can try to not break stuff, but like test the boundaries a little bit and pirate that brain box out and have either a second core or just swap it over and see if it works. And if it doesn't, then refloat the solders. But I decided that was going to take too much of my time. But because I slid my head under it, and I was like, oh, this actually looks like it sucks. But I would have to do that because I can't just like sell it with like, oh yeah, the ABS light and the brake light's on. Don't worry about it.
Sure. Yeah.
No. So that's the only progress I've made. Is like I've had my little come to Jesus moment, and I think I'm gonna pull the box. But I think before I do that, I'm going to get rid of the 41.
Okay.
And then maybe the Suburban. I need to kill Whitey, behind the white 924 turbo behind me. Exactly. No. And sell that thing. But that's another can of worms, because I have decided I'm going to put a lift in here sooner than later. That's a project for another day.
Oh boy.
But how about you? I know you're still knuckling down on Project NX before you take flight.
I'll be quick too, because I know we're up against it. Just standard stuff, plugs and wires, getting in there, air filter, and doing a fuel filter. And I don't know what it is, man, but it's something like, out of all the basic maintenance stuff, fuel filters suck. They suck. It's not too bad on this guy. It's just regular band clamps holding it in. But most vehicles have, like Fords from this period. Holy shit, dude.
Oh, they got those little compressing fittings that break.
Yeah. And you have to use special tools, and it's like a pain in the ass to leverage it and not break anything. And you're always in a shitty spot under the car. There's some about, no matter what you do, you're going to get fuel on you. It doesn't matter. You can bleed the pressure out, do everything by the book, but God, I hate doing fuel filters, dude. And the fuel that comes out is just horrible fuel. especially cars that have sat. So no special tools on that job, so that wasn't too bad. I'm replacing a lot of hoses. The PCV hose was like hard as a rock, and that's just next thing that happens is a huge vacuum leak. So going in and replacing all those, mostly cutting custom hoses, because God forbid anyone carries NX2000 hoses still on the shelf. So it's becoming a lot of that. But those
you gonna do the PCV valve while you're doing it?
Yep. Well, actually, the PCB valve was just done recently, which was awesome.
Oh, okay.
2 years ago. And a lot of the other stuff has been done. So it's been a well-maintained car before it like sat. So not well, but like maintained enough. It wasn't just sitting in a garage. So it's just, those are the little things, like those old coolant lines that'll fail you as soon as you start putting mileage on a car. But that's it.
Heat
just
cycling them.
Routine maintenance, man, making that fuel filter. The fuel filter is a very smart thing to do on a car that's sat or that's been, never been touched. So that's what we're doing. That's what we've been up to. And I've got a lot more to go, dude. A lot more to do on that car.
Can't wait, baby. This will be, she'll be road ready.
I literally can't wait because we're up against a very big deadline, but let's shut this thing down, man. Thanks guys for listening. Again, APA Podcast, another Pointless Automotive Podcast. Feel free to rate and review our show. We appreciate any feedback we can get. And it helps us. Yeah, it helps us out, get out to further people. Spread the word. Share us with your friends and family and people you dislike, especially. Just go ahead and drop
Definitely accost strangers.
Yeah, slide them a handwritten note or like a murder, like what is it called?
Like a death note,
ransom note, like all the magazine letters cut out. So just check out this podcast. It totally is cool. But
and then what you do is you get like one of those like Snugger Fit extra small condoms, and you staple it right through the center to the note that you hand to them. It helps. I've been told that.
Yes, I've never heard that, but
no, that
works
helps
on Magnums too. Just putting it out there. But just letting you guys know. But seriously though, we do appreciate you guys listening as always, because your time is valuable and listening to us is just crazy. We can't comprehend it, but we do appreciate it nonetheless. And check us out on YouTube for a visual component. We do put videos out with every episode. Frank, where can the good folks follow your endeavors?
Oh, definitely JDate, and mostly on Instagram and on the YouTubes. That's going to be The Photographer's Garage, which is what you see if you're seeing us on the YouTube ness. How about you, good Sir Chadwick?
Yeah, Auto Obsessive Garage, rescues, restorations, and reviews of wonderful cars like we've talked about today. And that's pretty much it. Instagram, YouTube, of course. But thanks again, guys. We will catch you on the next one.
On the flip side, bro.
Peace.
Toodaloo.